Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's probably for the first time today, maybe-ish. No, it's actually the second time we've done this today. But if you are watching on YouTube or listening on demand, this is the first time we've done this today. Nice. I absolutely didn't disconnect the stream 5 minutes into the stream. Oh, no, it's fine. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham D. This is the man that we call Bibby, and we together are Ice Cream Uploads. I'm going to go ploughing through the intro because some of you guys in the stream have heard this already, but it's fine. Yeah, we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. on the money-ish. It's now 11:25. I apologise. Bringing you the best... the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games, because this is the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games, but we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. Please feel free to do that in the chat, because this live stream, as you already know, will be turned into a YouTube video and an audio podcast. So the video on YouTube, youtube.com/Ice Cream Uploads, the audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to use your voice on behalf of everyone else. As you may have already been told today, !loot drop in the chat will give you details on how, as a subscriber, you could bag yourself some prizes each and every single month, potentially. Shout out to Enix, who gave us his 11-month sub, and Mr. We've Got Binho dropping his 30-month sub too. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you very much. Do you know what? I would replay those, but because we're pushed for time and you both wrote essays, sucks to be you. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Okay, back into the content. Let's jump straight into things. Whilst I'm jumping scenes, though, Bib.
Yes.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy 300th show, my friend.
Hey, I mean that is the biggest news of the day. Obviously, there's something about PlayStations and EA and stuff or whatever. You will see, but the biggest news is that the scoop is now 300 episodes old. So if you are here, or if you've been here before, massively appreciate the support that you guys have been giving us over the last almost a year of scoops. 60 more episodes, well, 65 more episodes, and we will be a year of scoops. You can watch one a day for a year. That's incredible. Big numbers. Thank you very much for joining us here. To celebrate, we've pushed the boat out. Look at this for extravagance. Not only does it say Graham's home and Bibby's home, but we now have something that we should have had all along. Nameplates! Hey! So if you ever wanted to follow me and Bib on social media, then there you go. But if you just want to follow Ice Cream, then it's at Ice Cream Uploads across the board. That is the name of us on all social media. And if someone has that, then they are just being a willy, because who else would be called Ice Cream Uploads? Really? Anyway, I was jumping back through the chat before I decided to disconnect from the VPN and kill the stream. Nice, GG Graham, good plan. Jumping back, Mr. T did have fun at the expense of Gary Clark, because he's just seen the Garlic Clark clip. I think Gary Clark says, "You're a dick, Graham." Nice.
I love the fact that he knew it was you straight away.
I don't know what you mean.
Somebody else has turned up into in the chat today, Graham. I don't know if you want to point him out or anything.
What we're talking about? Do you mean?
It begins with W and ends in S077.
I mean, can I see anyone that has that name? 9. I love you, West. To be fair to him, West took it very, very well. He was in my DMs yesterday from the off, and I was 5 minutes late to turning the game on. And obviously the game had already been pretty much done by that point. And he did take the gracious ribbon that I gave him very, very well. So GG's West, I appreciate that.
He had a bad day yesterday. I captained Danny Ings in fantasy football. Who's the bigger dickhead here? Who's more upset?
Unlucky. Sorry about that, West. West is a Southampton fan. Southampton marginally took a very close defeat yesterday at the hands of the mighty United of Manchester. So there you go. Don't know why I read that like I was an American football guy, but there you go. At a time, multi-ball. Jumping back through the chat because we did miss a few. Chappers love the old Reginald Dwight. Hey, are you ready? I'm burning that shirt now, says Gary. Yeah, Asim said she'd get garlic on the back. Where was that one? Where was that one? Or was it Asim? I did see it somewhere. Garlic on the back, there we go. Nico! is here-ish. He's took a seat at the back of the ice cream van. Exclamation mark lurk. If you're joining the chat but just want to listen and you don't want to get involved, exclamation mark lurk is the command for you. Feel free to drop that in. It will let everyone know that you're here, but you're not here. It's fine. It's good. Stream keeps flashing on and off. Never seen that before. That may have been my fault. Double scoop serving today, says Madge. Well, that's what it is. It's 300 episodes deep. We're giving you doubles. And just in case anyone missed it, ask him with the exclamation mark. Gary Clark in the chat once again. Garlic Clark, should I say. Garlic Clark, what a guy. Anyway, let's jump into some news. That's what we're all here for. We have a few stories to digest today. Hopefully we can do them with me and Bib on stream. You know, he got a bit of a strop yesterday and left the stream halfway through. You know, it's what it's like. It's what it's like. It absolutely wasn't technical issues. And we absolutely haven't had technical issues already today. This is fine. Who would be a live broadcaster? Anyway. Is it going to work? Not quite. I need to change that, and then that. Or not. There we go. It worked. We got there eventually. Sherif Saed at VG247 says, the PS5, which is being sold at a loss, has shifted 4.5 million units so far. So Sony has revealed some important numbers about its game business and the PS5 launch. This morning, Sony published earnings results for quarter 3 of the fiscal year 2020. And seeing as that period included the PS5 launch, today's release has been anticipated. Okay, that was a weird sentence. Okay, let me go read that again. This morning, Sony published earnings results for quarter 3 of fiscal year 2020. Seeing as that period included the PS5 launch, today's release has been anticipated. I mean, you kind of anticipate that anyway, I don't understand. But anyway, the platform holder announced that 4.5 million PS5 consoles have been sold since November 13th, meaning in just under 2 months. Sony, of course, Sony, of course, previously said that the PS5 launch was its biggest console launch ever. This is all despite the console supply being constrained. Sony is hoping to sell 3 million more units by the end of the fiscal year, which would mean matching or slightly exceeding PS4 shipments over the same period in 2013. 2014. PS4 sales, however, continued their decline. Only 1.4 million units were shipped during the quarter. Rather unsurprising, I'd say. The company also revealed an interesting detail when discussing today's results. The company's operating income took a hit as a result of PS5 manufacturing costs, which is expected, but now we know why. According to Sony, PS5 hardware prices were set lower than they actually cost the company to manufacture, meaning the console is sold at a loss. It's not clear whether this goes for both the standard model as well as the digital edition. Sony, unsurprisingly, said this was done in order for the price to remain strategic. Nevertheless, the digital side of the business more than made up for that hit with a record quarter. PlayStation Plus members grew to 47.4 million, an increase of 1.5 million over the last quarter and 9.1 million over quarter 3 last fiscal year. Sony said that over 87% of PS5 owners are Plus members. Digital software sales amounted to 53%, which is in line with Sony's recent performance and much of the industry. So big numbers for Sony and PlayStation there. 4.5 million PS5 units sold, but at a loss. I mean, we've spoken about this before. Consoles being sold at a loss it's not unheard of, but it doesn't tend to happen as often as people think. Consoles are usually sold for a profit because you make money on it. But I genuinely thought they were earning some money on the PS5. Didn't realise that it had been sold at a loss. But anyway, 4.5 million units and at a loss. What are your thoughts so far, Bib?
Yeah, I mean, straight out the gate, I've always come to the conclusion that the consoles are always sold at a loss, especially in the first couple of years that the console comes out, because the parts become less expensive as the console life cycle goes on, because like a graphics card now won't be the same in 5 years' time. The price will go down a hell of a lot because there'll always be something bigger and better that comes out. So therefore the parts get a little bit cheaper. It's faster to make. Therefore the profits will end up going up. So that, in my opinion, isn't anything new. However, shifting 4.5 million consoles is massive. This number would have been much larger they had them on the shelves to be able to pick up. I've just clicked on the link that Gary's just put into the chat that leads you over to a series of tweets by Zed Huge about the guys over at Genshin Impact. There's a lot of PlayStation 5s there, and I'm not saying that they have single-handedly wiped the market, because obviously they're giving them away to employees as like a raffle thing as a thank you for all their hard work and stuff like that. This I would categorize in a completely different thing from scalpers, because these have been bought in the intention to give them away to their employees rather than holding them hostage for a much higher price point. But still, the fact that there's probably about 400 consoles there, as well as graphics cards and everything else, is a little bit disheartening. But do you know what I mean? They bought them and they're giving them away to their employees or whatever. It's not as if they're being held hostage or held to ransom.
I mean,
but still, I think this number easily would have exceeded probably 7 or 8 million had there been consoles on the shelf for people to be able to buy.
It's quite an interesting thing. I just want to point out that tweet from Daniel Ahmad Zed Huge. See, I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. I've always said Zed Huge X because it's EX on the end. But anyway, he has clarified in his tweet. He followed up that tweet with all the pictures of the GeForce RTX graphics cards, the PlayStation stock Nintendo Switches, Apple products, and he was like, "This is why the PS5 is out of stock, by the way." And then followed up again saying, "I'm redoing this tweet as it was taken the wrong way. These are for employees of MiHoYo, the company that makes Genshin Impact. They aren't like mass purchasing to push up stock prices and scalp people. These are literally a company that's gone, let's give all of our staff prizes." So that is a good thing in that sense. It isn't the reason why they're out of stock, which Bibby's obviously just said. But let's all go work for MiHoYo, yeah? Nice. I'll have a PS5 and an iPhone 12, please. Actually, give me a GeForce RTX 3080 as well. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. I could be putting information together and 2 and 2 and getting 5. But the PS3 sold at a loss, quite a significant loss. As far as I was aware, the PS4 sold, if not, I don't think it was a loss. I mean, I could be wrong. I thought the PS4 sold at a marginal profit. And in that generation, the idea was they'd lost a shitload on the PS3, which they had to do to claw back the market space that the Xbox 360 had. And they weren't going to do that kind of thing again. So hearing that the PS5 is being sold at a loss is a little bit of a surprise to me. I mean, it's not surprising in terms of it's unheard of. I wouldn't have expected that because of what had happened previously. That said, to be competitive in the market and keep the price in the same ballpark as Microsoft's consoles, and Microsoft, in theory, having more powerful consoles, maybe it's a necessary loss leader. I mean, like we say, consoles earning money is huge money, but software, the games and stuff, is where the profit is. So yeah, they will lose money now. Yes, that money will balance out as components do become cheaper, as Bibbs has mentioned, but 2 years down the line, when you've had someone subscribe to PS Plus and bought 20 games and stuff, the money that you've lost on the console has more than doubled in that sort of sense. So yeah, it makes sense. Just a couple of shouts. Ferno, welcome in, Lewis. Good morning. 6 minutes ago, dropping a host, as did Magic Man. Thank you very much for the hosts. Appreciate it, guys. Zag, HT 200-713, a name that slips off the tongue. Thank you very much for the follows, as well as is that Amanafi? I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I can see you in the chat. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in, dude. Welcome in. Is that Zag from the 30 Plus Discord? The Zag that was featured in there? Welcome in. Good morning. Good to have you in. Okay, let me jump back through the comments, see what people are saying. Bib says, would it be an episode of The Scoop without tech problems? I don't think it would. West, nothing to talk about, for fuck's sake. Sorry, West. Should be called South or 77 after that. I mean, it went south. It went south in 70 seconds, so there you go. So Enix says, no surprise on the PS5. Issue with it being out of stock is now people buying more Series X because it's hard to buy the PS5. I mean, that happens. In my mind, after being hugely involved in the PS and the PS2 life cycles, was, that's it, I'm going to get a PS3. I didn't have an Xbox, an OG Xbox, so I'm going to get a PS3. the Xbox 360 I'm not too bothered about because it's just another Xbox. The PS5 got delayed. It was supposed to come out in like September time, I believe. And then it got delayed until, was it March or was it even later? I can't remember. Anyway, the Xbox arrived. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get Xbox 360. So that being replicated this time due to stock issues, it's not the same in terms of the product has been delayed, but it kind of has. If the products are going to be hard to come by all the way past April, then that's an even bigger delay than actually having a delay previously. So it wouldn't surprise. It doesn't surprise me that people are out buying Series X's and S's as a result of that. Most hardware is sold at a loss, says Gary. Ferno says, I'm sure the Xbox was sold at a loss as well. Gary says the PS4 was sold at a loss as well. Well, there you go. I've learned something new today. But it doesn't surprise me, particularly with everything that's been going on with COVID as well. You can imagine that companies will have to operate at more loss than they would have to usually, because the difficulties around staffing, there'll be less workers available due to either shielding or social distancing, so less workers in the actual building. The ones that can actually get there, you'll have less of them because you can't have the same amount of staff operating in the same space. They all need more distance. Then you'll have issues with logistics, taking the hardware from the factories to the ships into cargo containers, sending them across seas, and then getting them off at the other end, putting them on lorries, taking them to the stores, getting them to your house. All of that stuff gets impacted. You still have commitments to retailers, though, to deliver certain amounts. So that delivery that would cost you, I'm just going to give round figures that are nowhere near accurate, £1,000, now suddenly is £2,500 because you have to pay for the urgent shipping version of it kind of thing. So it doesn't surprise me that they're all operating at losses anyway. They're probably operating at even more of a loss because of COVID than they would have done usually. But even still, if you're operating at a loss but still selling 4.5 million consoles, that's 4.5 million people-ish that then can throw money into your system through software and subscription services purchases as well. So, yeah, good problem to have. Good problem to have. After says, I followed you. What are you guys going to play? We are playing Talking. This is the scoop, as Gary just mentioned there. This is a podcast. This we record live every day. So we're not going to play any games just yet. We will be playing after, though, which we haven't actually decided on yet. But yeah, what would you like us to play? Let us know. But no games just yet. We are talking about the fact that the PS5, though, has sold 4.5 million units, on par with and better than the PS4. Does that surprise you? No? Hello?
Oh, was you asking me?
No?
Sorry, I'd already replied. I thought you was asking someone in the chat. No, it doesn't surprise me that it's running at a loss.
Oh no, I said it's sold 4.5 million units on par and better than the PS4 did. Does that surprise you?
No, and I think it would have sold and eclipsed the PlayStation 4 had there been more available.
Yeah, I reckon so too. I mean, a question that we can't answer that I keep asking is, it'd be interesting to see if all 4.5 million consoles would have gone if there was 12 million sat on the shelves. Mm-hmm. Has the supply and demand led to 4.5 million consoles being sold because people are snapping them up when the chance becomes available? We'll never know that. Maybe some industry analysts will have some sort of insights in 2 years' time that might be able to provide us knowledge on that. But quite often, if something is harder to get hold of, it sells faster. So traditionally, console sales have been slowly in decline since the PS2 generation, purely because there's more things out there to invest in. There's alternate consoles, there's alternate systems. PCs are a much more viable form of gaming system commercially from people without any prior knowledge of PCs. So consoles and things generally sell less. So it taking an upstep, that is good news for the console industry. But like I say, is that purely down to scalpers? Have scalpers and Sony been in cahoots all this time? We're thinking, the knobhead's getting out of it. Yeah. Sony's there are currently going, yeah, check out Smith's Toys. There's going to be a few bits on there, and if you use the Q Jump bot, then we're going to be in the money, bitches. So maybe. Yeah. Someone clip that, says Gary. And Mad says, sorry, was sending a tweet to Ice Cream Uploads and missed what happened. it was just me and Bibby just having a miscommunication. It's fine. Bibby called me a wanker after laughing. That's what he does. I have to load up Chrome to see what Enix has just tweeted. And then what Gary has tweeted before it. So we went live with our 300 episode graphic. Look at that. What a beautiful thumbnail that is. Beautiful. And then below that, we have Bibby. That's when Bibby screamed for us. And then Enix, when you follow for a Gary Clark shout, but you called Garlic Clark. Oh. Do you know what? It's a good job. We can all take a bit of banter because there'd be none of us left. West wouldn't be turning in today. Gary wouldn't be turning in. So, oh, there we go. Beautiful. Things you love to see. Anyway, let's move ahead. Let's talk about something different. So the PS5 has sold a shitload of consoles. The Xbox undoubtedly has too. All of them at a loss, but you know what? Whilst that seems like a negative, it's absolutely not. It may seem like a negative to people that aren't in the know. It's absolutely not. 4.5 million consoles is a huge install base off the bat. And will keep people very, very much excited and ready to throw money at new releases, such as Battlefield 6. Hey, see that? That's cheesy tie-in? Nice. Tangents. Yeah. It's been a while since he's been on the scoop, but congratulations to Eddie Makuch of GameSpot. You are back as Battlefield 6 reveal coming this spring and will support more players than ever. So we've had rumours of this before. Obviously take them all with a pinch. But let's jump into this and see how official this news is. I haven't read this, so we'll go through it together. The next Battlefield game is coming in holiday 2021. As part of Electronic Arts' earnings report, the company shared some details on the next Battlefield game. Management said the game will offer all-out military warfare and support more players than ever before for the Battlefield series. The current player cap for Battlefield is 32 versus 32, so presumably this new Battlefield will offer something more. EA also said the new Battlefield game will offer more player agency, but the company did not elaborate on what that means. Why? It will offer more player agency. What does that mean? Not telling you. Okay, great, nice. What's more, this new game is tracking ahead of EA's own internal milestones. EA CFO Blake Jorgensen said the new game is scheduled to reach feature complete status faster than any other Battlefield game in franchise history. This new game, whatever it ends up being called, is scheduled to be revealed in spring 2021 before releasing in holiday 2021. EA CEO Andrew Wilson said this new Battlefield game will take advantage of the full power of the PS5 and Xbox Series X as it attempts to usher in a new era for the Battlefield series. Here are EA's full comments on the new Battlefield game. Quote, "We're looking forward to sharing a lot more about our fiscal year 2022 plan in the months ahead, including our next Battlefield experience, which will mark a return to all-out military warfare. The game takes full advantage of the power of next-gen platforms to bring massive and immersive battles to life with more players than ever before. Featuring maps with unprecedented scale, the next vision of Battlefield takes all the destruction, player agency, and vehicle and weapon combat that the franchise is known for and elevates it to another level. The team is focused and the game is ahead of our internal milestones. We will reveal the game in the spring and deliver the defining Battlefield experience for our players in the 2021 holiday season." Hype. Babe, what are your thoughts on Battlefield coming holiday 2021?
Well, these are all hype words that have been listed in here, but by God, this has made me hype. This is the kind of thing that I'm fairly certain every single person who's ever played Battlefield is extremely excited about. The fact that we may be getting 32 versus 32, and that's literally the minimum that we can try and increase that to 64 v 64. That is the absolute end goal. If they're creating maps for 128 people, then clearly we're going to have at least one or two where it's going to be full-scale warfare and boots on the ground, all-out military warfare. that's absolutely stinking of Battlefield, back to the Bad Company days, and I am super excited about that. I think we've been waiting so long for something like this. I didn't think Battlefield 5 was a bad game. I just felt like it lacked a lot of content. The Battle Pass stuff wasn't strong enough to keep people in touch. If you have someone like Westy, who's probably the biggest Battlefield player that I've ever known, that's adored the franchise since day one, and he's ended up leaving and going to Warzone, you kind of got a bit of a problem there. So hopefully stuff like this will entice people back. I can see people in the chat that are kind of geared up for this as well. So they're hitting all the right notes with the hype words and things in this press release. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Comments in the chat. Enix says, can't wait for a new Battlefield. So many hours into Battlefield 4, 1 and 5. Lake says, Battlefield 1942, the only right one. Battlefield Bad Company 2 is what you meant to write, but okay, nice. Now, see, 1942 is a game I didn't play, and it's a game that wouldn't have my attention. I'd probably enjoy it if I played it. It'd probably have all the balancing and beauty that I've heard about it from people like yourself, Lake, and Madge, who says, cool, we can expect Battlefield 1942 player numbers per server then. Enix says, loved Battlefield 1942 back in the day with the expansions. Battlefield 2 was a beast. But for me, like I've said, and Bibby mentioned the phrase then, boots on the ground, it's a very marketing term because of Call of Duty more than anything, because they went so exoskeleton and spacey and stuff that people were just like, give us boots on the ground. And I know 1942 is definitively boots on the ground because they didn't have anything but boots. I mean, obviously they had like cars and bits as well, but I want modern day stuff. So if Battlefield can give me that, that's why Battlefield Bad Company 2 ticks the boxes for me. It was modern, it was team play, it was well balanced, it was good. After Battlefield Bad Company 2, they had a huge success, and then we got like the likes of Battlefield 3 and things like that. And it just kind of went big and bombastic with the destructive environments, and it kind of took the focus away from the core gameplay with the extra stuff. So Battlefield 5, like Baby said, it's lost a lot of people. And that is down to, as Baby mentioned, content. The fact that they stopped supporting the game with any new content in the summer of last year, and the new game isn't coming to the holiday of this year, that's 18 months without content. So content creators, naturally, like Westy, are going to dual wield, to use a COD/Battlefield reference. He is a Battlefield content creator. He has made his following from Battlefield. He has grown his following exponentially by playing Warzone, so no doubt he will continue to cover both games going forward. But it is exciting, and the thing that's the most exciting for me, and this you can tell this is someone's been in the industry for quite a while, is the thing that's most exciting for me is the fact that the game is tracking ahead of EA's own internal milestones. That for me is beautiful, because yeah, all right, you've got a game that's got a bajillion players potentially, and it has new player agency, whatever that means. Oh great, nice things, yeah, stuff, wonderful. But if all of that happens and they don't have enough time to deliver it, then it's all just going to be a bit wishy-washy potentially, or it just won't quite live up to the hype potentially. And we can kind of see that with Battlefield 5. I mean, it stopped in summer last year, and they don't have any content to see it through to this time. But they also had, I mean, the Pacific content towards the end was highly praised, but there was so many issues, so many bugs. Firestorm didn't even exist, let's just put it that way. That was a horrible attempt at BR, and they spread themselves too thin and were reactive. The fact that they are tracking ahead of their own internal milestones is huge, because that means EA get the time to polish, get the time to shine, get the time to go, okay, we had some stuff on the drawing board that would have been amazing, but we didn't think we'd do it. We now have 8 months extra. Let's get some of that stuff in. Let's get extra content. Let's think of post-launch content. Let's think of how we give people actual end game goals that aren't just 3 months into it, game finished, nice. How can we keep people ticking over, extend the shelf life? So that's the bit that I'm very excited for. We've got a game that's going to utilise the full power, that's going to add more players, that gives whatever player agency is, and they have a shitload of time to fine-tune it. Yes, please. Yes, please. Mm-hmm. That's what any annual release, I know obviously this was not an annual release, but that's what any annual release game struggles with. Any sports game that's an annual release, any shooter game that is an annual release, the biggest thing that stops that game being what you want it to be is not the developer, is not funding, it's time. And the fact that they're saying they have time is wonderful. Yes, please, give me more of that. Give me more of that. Thankfully, Battlefield is now coming out of no man's land. Way! David says Battlefield 2 was the best, but I think Vietnam gets overlooked too much. It's the only one to have a periodic, specific soundtrack. Just put on a CD. Jobs are good at. Load up Spotify. Jobs are good at. Rise. Good morning. Welcome back.
Morning, mate.
It's been a while, I think. Sup, lads? OMG, have I missed this Battlefield story? And I can't wait for this new game. Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 with a goat, so I'm gassed this one is based around the same timeline. Have we had confirmation that it is based around the same timeline? I would like to know. I mean, I would very much like it to be based around the same timeline, but Vietnam was a fantastic expansion, says Madge. Nothing beats Battlefield 2 when running across the beach while 20-odd people shooting at you while you're trying to revive friends. Though Bad Company 2 remains my favourite. Sim. Can't lie, Battlefield 4, 64-player, 3,200, 300 kill locker games were up there. I remember playing... I can't remember if it was 3 or 4. I mean, being an old man, the games industry's kind of merged into one. I remember playing one of them at EGX. We were working at EGX, and we were in early because we were on a stand, and we went over to the Battlefield thing, and it was a shock to the senses. It was so intense. Playing like Battlefield Bad Company 2, which obviously there's a lot going on. You've got people driving around in tanks, people C4 in it, then little UAZs flying overhead, or UAVs, what they're called. And you're just kind of like, oh my god, bullets and bombs and explosions, and then you go into that, and it was just like people everywhere. It was like, ah! It's like you can understand why shell shock's an actual thing. So yeah, give me that experience. Do you know what? Fuck it, we'll have a Battlefield VR while you're at it here. You've got a few extra months on your hands. Give us Battlefield 6 VR, yes please. Battlefield 5 is the first in the series I never played. Just looked empty, vapid pap. It was free as well, wasn't it, recently? Or am I mixing that up? No, maybe I'm getting it mixed up with Star Wars, to be fair. Maybe I am. I played it. It was okay. I agree about the emptiness. It was a very well-made game. It missed something emotive. You know when you play a game and you just feel... Oof. Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, this is nice. Oh, this is fun. Oh, yeah. But there was just something central in it that was missing. It's hard to say. Right. I don't know how to pronounce that. What's up, guys? Yeah. How's them lives going? Life is going well. Well, one life is going well. I can't speak for Bib, but I assume it's fine because look at how happy he is.
It's going well.
He's got resting Bib face. Life is amazing. Gagad says, lurk! Bloody work meetings. Enjoy the meetings, Gagad. Thank you for being here. Chapper says, lurk. So's got to get something done at work. God damn it. EA booth at Gamescom. Boom, boom, boom. Ears start bleeding. Yeah, exactly. It's what you want from a game. Remember when you had to share a controller and headphones with half of a games conference? Yeah, imagine that, like being not only stood 0.3 meters away from someone that's pretty much licking the back of your neck in the queue, but then to go and pick up a controller that's been manhandled by 200,000 people, and put on the sweaty headset that's still moist from the person that had it in front of you. Yeah. Oh, what a life. I mean, we all talk about how bad COVID is, but it's kind of saved us from that. I wonder how that will work. Will we get like fully wipe down controllers and stuff when events come back? Will we have headsets that have like, do you know like when you go to America and you get those like little paper toilet seat covers? Will we get those for like your headsets, your Astros or whatever? Just a bit of paper around the rim so it doesn't actually touch your head. There you go. If anyone wants to start a new business and is looking for an idea, then welcome to Ice Cream Uploads.
It wouldn't surprise me if they made people either bring their own or you could buy a pair on the way, you know, like you used to be able to do on a plane where you could buy headsets. And it'll be like disposable ones for $5 or something like that on the way in, and they make you plug them in at every point, like in the controller or into an aux jack.
Imagine how horrendous that would be. Not in terms of, I mean, the idea is solid, but when you buy those £5 headphones on a plane, it's like listening. Like it's like one of those phone calls that you have when you've got cans on a string. The audio is just like super tinny and shit, and it's like Call of Duty one schlonges. Thank you very much for the follow. Like Call of Duty won awards for amazing audio last year. listening to that through a can on a string is probably not going to do it justice. And if you're buying like £3 headphones, then it's probably going to be the same. And then you got to feel sorry for the likes of the Corsairs and the Astros and the HyperXs and SteelSeries around the world that want to put their headsets in these stands. I mean, it's like, yeah, we can get a logo on the wall, but you're still using these like Astros with double S's. Bring your own headset and controller. Be your hack.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was the thing, though.
Yeah, potentially. Remember, people might get headphones or something like that. In my studio, we do the same. We clean the controllers after being used, etc. But it's wrecking the controllers. Yeah, I bet it is. Plus, make my staff all wear masks at all times. That's just because they ugly. It's not. It could be. I've never seen them. I don't know. I'm not saying that. It's fine. Let's move ahead. Don't miss the conflu and special smell atmosphere. Conflu. For my first 2 years working in the games industry, I got all of the germs. I built up a little bit more of a barrier, but yeah, my first year was just horrendous. It was just illness after illness after illness. Stood there on a stand. I mean, I'm pale anyway, but stood there on a stand, Captain Pale, pasty, sweat rings down from like my armpit down to my belly button, pretty much, going.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Well, there you go. Going and trying to entice people in to play games. Do you want to play a game? It's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. It's okay. It's like the equivalent of getting some headphones and a Christmas cracker. Exactly. Mustache comb. I mean, nobody wants a mustache comb anyway, but that one is literally made out of, like, dust.
Nail clippers.
Yeah, exactly. Nail clippers that don't actually touch, so they won't clip anything. Great. Big plans. So, yeah, anyway, EA are working on Battlefield 6. It has been confirmed. We've had pinches of salt rumours over the last few months, but it has now been confirmed. The game is coming holiday 2021. We will get a reveal this spring, which, I mean, spring could be next month, the month after. It could be late spring if we're looking at E3-ish sort of early window, maybe. But either way, we'll have the game in our hands by the end of the year, which is exciting. Nice. Video games still exist. Yeah, screw you, COVID. EA, though, are not just working on shooters. As we've spoken about a few times over the last few months, they are also looking at racing games too. And EA says Codemasters will enable it to release annual racing games. This is written by Tom Ivan at VGC. First question, which I will ask before jumping into it for you guys in the chat to just think about, is would you like the idea of annual racing games? Do annual releases soften the quality of the game that you get in the end? Have a think. I mean, I don't know if that's featured in the article, but just want to discuss. But anyway, the company discusses planned acquisition in latest financial results. So from the same financial results that we've had discussing Battlefield, it's also been announced that Electronic Arts has said its pending acquisition of Codemasters will enable it to release racing games on a yearly basis. Thank you very much for the host, Pirate. Beautiful man. EA is the home of the Need for Speed and Burnout franchises, but its planned buyout of racing specialist Codemasters would add a number of high-profile racing brands to its stable. The publisher's Need for Speed series has stuck to a biennial release schedule for much of the past decade. Last year, it handed the franchise back to UK-based Criterion Games and announced a restructure of Sweden's Ghost Games, which has developed the last 4 entries in the racing series. Codemasters is the publisher of racing games including Dirt, F1, Grid, and Onrush. The company has also recently secured the rights to the FIA World Rally Championship WRC, shortest name in the world, slides off the tongue, and in 2019 it acquired Slightly Mad, the developer of the Project Cars series, and Fast and Furious Crossroads. Big coup, nice.
Hey.
Nathan7623, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the stream. So discussing the strategic rationale of the potential Codemasters acquisition as part of its third quarter earnings results on Tuesday. That's basically they had a call about stuff. EA said the $1.2 billion deal would create a global leader in racing entertainment and enable EA to release new racing experiences annually. It's worth noting that in recent years, Codemasters has released its own annual racing title, even not counting for its yearly F1 installments. Codemasters' 3 directors recently entered into a binding agreement to vote in favour of the proposed acquisition of the British game developer and publisher by EA at a meeting due to be held on February 3rd, which is today, where they hope the deal will gain enough support from fellow shareholders to be approved. CEO Frank Sagnia, Chief Financial Officer Rashid Varachia, and Executive Director Ian Bell, who is also the CEO of Slightly Mad, hold a combined stake of 4.34% in Codemasters. Their agreement to vote in favour of the acquisition is now binding, even if a higher competing offer is made for Codemasters, and will only be terminated if the takeover offer is withdrawn by EA or lapses in accordance with its terms. The Codemasters board has also unanimously recommended that the company shareholders vote in favour of EA's acquisition at the aforementioned meeting, which will take place at the Codemasters campus in Warwickshire. So, EA is still on course to take over Codemasters should everything go as planned, and they say that that will allow them to release annual racing games. More games, more studios. Surely that's a good thing, right? Or is it a bad thing? I'm not pushing you towards any answer, by the way, when I'm saying that. When I was asking you to think about, does annual racing games weaken the portfolio? Or is it just allowing the studios to do what they can do more regularly with more backing? What are your thoughts, Bib?
For some franchises, like the F1 game, that works on a yearly basis. That's exactly what you'd expect. But for a game like Dirt, I don't think that would be the right way. I mean, I don't know whether or not you was able to see something in the middle of the article because of your cookies. But there's something that says accelerates growth and creates value, and there's one part of the creates value that says we'll grow Codemasters titles by giving Codemasters access to EA's technology, central services, marketing resources, and a 330 million strong player network, effectively expanding Codemasters' total addressable market. That's something that I imagine Codemasters will be thoroughly thrilled with and super excited by. They're going to get potentially more people looking at their franchises that maybe wasn't looking at them in the first place. Making them into yearly titles probably isn't the way forward, especially if the franchises aren't a yearly title to begin with. I think having more resources on will probably help them. Having expertise in creating other elements of the game that some people at Codemasters may not be able to try and code will be great. But you might also end up getting someone working on the game like Fast and Furious Crossroads. So there will be a lot of negatives. I think reading the last 3 paragraphs, it said their agreement to vote in favour of the acquisition is now binding if even higher competing offer is made for Codemasters and will only be terminated if EA withdraw. It feels like the three people who you mentioned in that article are probably trying to fight for this more, even though they only own 4.34, because I think they will make a lot of money being a stakeholder. And then getting however much it costs to try and potentially take, was it 1.2 billion? I imagine they're going to get a fair chunk as well. So obviously they're going to be pushing to try and get taken over because it's just going to be money in their skyrocket. But in terms of the games, I think it will benefit them in some ways, but also not in others. But we can't say that from our perspective until these games start getting churned out.
Let me jump into the bit in the middle of the article that you were talking about. It was there. I just skipped past it because I just got banner blinders. I thought it was advertisements. So this is the bit that says potential Codemasters acquisition strategic rationale. So the reasoning for EA taking over Codemasters is it accelerates growth. It grows EA's presence in racing, creating a global leader in racing entertainment. It brings talented game teams, technology, and IP, intellectual property, aka games, to EA. It will enable EA to release new racing experiences annually. It's a natural fit and clear opportunities with EA Sports portfolio and expected to grow net bookings and underlying profitability. It also creates value, so it will grow Codemasters titles by giving Codemasters access to EA's technology, central services and marketing resources and its 330 million strong player network, effectively expanding Codemasters' total addressable market. It will improve and accelerate development and innovation and the identification and adoption of best practices. So it will enable cross-fertilization of ideas, expertise, and technology between the racing development teams and the rest of the combined group. So when you break it down in that sort of way, that is huge for both. EA gets someone that make games and make them well. and suddenly go, well, we do racing games exceptionally well. I mean, we've done Need for Speeds and stuff like that, kind of like questionable recently, but Codemasters live and breathe racing games, so they will know exactly what they're doing there. It's win-win in that sense. In Codemasters' sense, it's a case of, okay, we get access to, well, first of all, EA has a bajillion people on its mailing lists. Let's break it down to simplify it. So when they're saying they have a 330 million strong player network, that includes players on Origin, that includes players on mailing lists, that probably includes some form of social stuff in there as well. These are all players that can easily be marketed to that Codemasters don't have access to. So let me just do a quick Codemasters. Let's just, a finger in the wind sort of reading. Is Codemasters has a decent following, 155,000 followers on Twitter, but 155,000 followers is much, much smaller than the 2.1 million that EA Sports has, for example. So that instantly projects what Codemasters can do as a business. If you have the better potential for profit, you have the better potential for spend, so you can invest and still get a return on that investment. So if Codemasters are smashing it right now, could they smash it even better if they get all of that portfolio in it? Potentially, yes. The worry, though, which I did see, which is the reason why I was asking the question. The way I asked it was probably a little bit charged, which is why I said I didn't mean it to be charged. Was this sort of response, and I probably threw EA under the bus, even though I didn't really mean to there by asking it in that sort of way. Is EA giving you annual games good or bad? Shit way of asking it, because that's kind of a bad way. The way I almost phrased it was in telling you to react to shit content games that are just churned out. I don't necessarily mean that. I was just kind of wanted to see what you think. But anyway, Enix says the FIFA of racing games, oh no. Gary says that's going to be awful in my opinion. Terrible, 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 says Madge. Codemasters had sped up their franchise releases. It felt anyway. Chapper says, hoping that EA don't end up absolutely EAing all over these series. Madge says, and they had already season passes. It might be enough to stop my future purposes. Enix says, demo font. Yeah, I didn't have the font installed. I changed stuff this morning when I was adding these in. The nameplates. And I haven't got the font off Craig, so I had to download the demo quickly before we went live. So nice. It's apparently the equals symbol isn't in the font, so there you go. Yeah, for F1 it makes sense, but a dirt game or a grid game every year just dilutes the brands, in my opinion. Pirate says, why does Bibby look so angry? That's just Bibby. It's just... That's
like me reading face. So I got you when I look to the left, it's because I've got all you guys on the chat, and when I'm looking straight ahead, underneath is the screen where it's got all the news stories that we're going to be talking about. So it's just my reading face.
resting bib face. That's what it is.
Yeah, I have to try and process words.
See, when we work in the office, or should that ever happen again, Bibby sits next to me, and Bibby has his concentration face, which is that basically. And when you see Bibby full on with resting bib face, that's a cue for me to start distracting him. Bobby, because I know he's in the zone, and so I know as someone that's expecting work from him, it's probably not the best use of my time. But there you go, there you go.
Welcome to Jelly Media.
Yay! Anyway, back into the room. So EA says Codemasters will enable it to release annual racing games. I do share your sentiment in the chats, Enix, Gary, Madge, Chappers, that annual releasing and spaffing stuff out for the sake of it, and season passing it, and loot boxing it, and squeezing every penny out of it is horrendous. I hope, though, I will give them the benefit of the doubt and say, I mean, look at what EA did with... I mean, me and Bib started playing A Way Out, which is... what's the name of the studio that makes it, the Swedish one? Oh, I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, Hazelight Studios, that's it. They made A Way Out, and that wasn't horrendously squashed into EA's mantra. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. If you have EA Play, definitely give it a try. So seeing what they've kind of done with that, seeing with the lessons that they've learned off of the back of the Star Wars crossovers, I'm thinking... Is there a, maybe not an overwhelming groundswell because EA Sports is EA Sports, but because this isn't quite EA Sports, maybe we get the best of EA, because EA undoubtedly has incredible people working there, incredible systems, incredible insights, incredible potential. We often hate EA's decisions because that potential often gets overlooked by profits, which isn't down to the people that are making the games. It's down to the people that are in suits and in boardrooms and making the decisions. But let's say the people making the games, if EA embraces what Codemasters is, it's a very community driven, a very customer friendly and customer focused brand. If they embrace what they have, what they are, and what they bring to the table, and supply them with the tools and resources that EA has, then it could be huge for racing games. It could, on the flip side, be exactly what Mad just said. It might be enough to stop my future purchases. It could be that too. Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't miss sitting next to you and getting bullied. That's not true. We bullied you when you were sat in other places as well. So there, have that. Graham was the plane and we was the wings. What? Okay. Okay. Speaking of planes and wings.
Nice segue.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. It's like I've done this shit before. Speaking of planes and wings, Nintendo reportedly cancelled Zelda and Star Fox over Netflix leak. Star Fox has wings and space planes, so that's the tangent. Nice. You get it? Yeah, nice, cool. Andy Robinson at VGC says the company said to have freaked out after Netflix allegedly leaked details to the media. Nintendo reportedly cancelled plans for a live-action Legend of Zelda series and Star Fox claymation show after Netflix leaked details to the press. That's according to comedian and voice actor Adam Canova, who claimed that Hollywood production company College Humor was set to work on the Star Fox show before Nintendo abruptly stepped away from discussions. This probably means nothing to anybody, but it's a story that I feel I can tell now, he said in a newly published video. In 2015, there was this news that Netflix was going to make a Legend of Zelda television show. It was supposed to be live action. It was supposed to be a live action show, and it got a lot of coverage in the gaming press. He added, at the same time, I worked at College Humor, and we had a secret project where we were going to make a claymation version of Star Fox with Nintendo. I know this because Shigeru Miyamoto came to our office, and I remember that because I asked my boss if I could be in the office that day. He told me no, and I'm still mad at him. Understandable. Conover said the Star Fox project would have been a fantastic Mr. Fox-style take on Star Fox, referencing the 2009 stop-motion movie by Wes Anderson. It's a pitch College Humor had already acted on via an earlier parody published in 2011 called Fantastic Mr. Star Fox. The company had also created a series of shorts for the Nintendo 3DS video service around the same time. However, its grander Star Fox plans were quickly shelved after the Wall Street Journal reported on the Legend of Zelda Netflix show, which Conover alleged that the streaming giant intentionally leaked. A month later, suddenly there were reports that Netflix wasn't going to do the Legend of Zelda anymore. I was like, what happened? And then I heard from my boss that we weren't going to do Star Fox anymore. I thought that was weird, so I asked him what happened, and he said, someone at Netflix leaked the Legend of Zelda thing. Nintendo freaked out. He added, it was the first time they had done any IP in years for any product. They had no adaptation of any kind. But when Netflix leaked it, they freaked out and pulled the plug on everything. They pulled the plug on the entire program to adapt these things. What happened was Netflix leaked this and ended up killing the whole project. Why would you leak something like that? Because you're excited to brag about it, but then the whole project falls apart. Come on, what are you doing? He says. Nintendo has historically been very protective of its intellectual property, only greenlighting television and film projects for the Zelda animated show and Super Mario Bros. Movie 30 years ago. However, Nintendo has increasingly moved to leverage its popular IP in various ways in recent years. The company's new Nintendo Tokyo store opened in 2019. Super Nintendo World theme parks are set to open at Universal Studios locations around the world, and Super Mario animated movie is expected to be released in 2022. Do you know what? We don't need to finish off with the last couple of paragraphs. I think we get the gist at that point in time. There was a Zelda show in the works 11, 12, 13 years ago. I can't remember what the date it was. 2009, so 12 years ago, there was a Netflix show for Zelda in the works, plus a Star Fox claymation animation. Both canned after Netflix leaked. What are your thoughts on that, Bib? Would you have liked a Zelda show?
I would. I think I know this is something that's completely off the side, but we've just recently had The Witcher, which was obviously an adaptation of a video game, did increasingly well, obviously because not just the storyline was solid, but it also had a star-studded cast. Could we have seen something potentially with the likes of Zelda doing similar things? Absolutely. It's just it always weirds me out, Nintendo, when it comes to stuff like this, that they just pull the plug because they think anything that's got out is always going to be bad press. It's like they don't read anything that's been leaked. I mean, leaks should never happen, especially when something as high profile as this, and someone at Netflix thought they'd get their 15 minutes of fame by leaking something, whether or not they're putting their name to it or not. It's not the right thing to do, and it never will be when it comes to something as high profile as this. I hope the person got found out, and I hope that they was reprimanded appropriately, because you've potentially just lost your company millions and millions of pounds. The old phrase, loose lips sink ships, and all that. So it's a shame that us as fans never got something from Zelda and Star Fox. It's also a shame from Netflix standpoint, because I think they could have done something wicked with that. Jesus, I don't think I've used the word wicked in about 20 years either.
Hearing you say the phrase "something wicked," I don't know if it was a national thing. There used to be a shop in Huddersfield that sold something, sold like Warhammer things called something wicked. It was like Games Workshop-y kind of thing. So, yeah. So there you go. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. It's a shame that we never got something like this, and it would be great if we could kind of revisit it. It wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo was over at the likes of Witcher and seeing how well that's done. To think a Zelda show would have been fantastic. Seeing Link in live action, I don't know if. Let me just have a quick Google.
I mean, it would be a good time to bring this back, because we've had The Witcher smashing it. It's PlayStation. What is it? PlayStation Studios, or is it PlayStation Broadcasting, or whatever it was? That is looking at bringing The Last of Us through Naughty Dog to HBO. That's looking at bringing content to Netflix and cinema as well with Uncharted and co. Then you have the amount of video game focused documentaries that have been successful on Netflix. Then you have Konami / Netflix Castlevania series, which has been hugely appreciated. It's a really good watch, by the way. If you've only got a few hours to spare and you want something that's good to watch that you can pick up and stop and start, then give Castlevania a good go. It's really, really good. Really good. So off the back of those, Castlevania particularly, because Castlevania isn't The Last of Us. Castlevania isn't The Witcher. Castlevania is more aligned with the likes of Zelda, because people will remember playing Castlevania on the SNESes and it being kind of intrinsically in the memories of players of those eras when Netflix, before Netflix even existed. So if Castlevania can make that step and be hugely successful, something that's as big as Zelda would absolutely shit out money, merchandise opportunities. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame that Nintendo instantly cancelled it. It doesn't surprise me. That's the way that Nintendo react. But anyway, you were off looking for Zelda stuff. Did you find?
Yeah, so I was having a look to see whether or not they like tried to cast it, or who people would deem the cast of Link. And the first person that comes up, obviously, like one of the hottest properties at the moment, Tom Holland, who seems to be in absolutely everything at this moment in time. And also, I'm trying to fit. I've seen his face in a load of stuff, and people are going to kick off with me about this. But what's his name? Thomas
Garlic
Brody.
Clark. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, Garlic Clark. Thomas Brody Sangster was apparently another one who was in Nanny McPhee and apparently Game of Thrones and Love Actually, the little kid. Yeah, so him as well. Apparently, you'll know his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he was meant to be another one that was being touted as being the next Link. Yeah, I mean,
this is Thomas Brody Sangster. For anyone that doesn't know, he was in the Hunger Games films. He's just been in the Queen's Gambit. Basically, all he is a poor man's David Fish. That's what he is. I think Fish actually tweeted that. Didn't Fish tweet something about? A lot of people have said that. There you go. There he is in Queen's Gambit. A lot of people have said when Queen's Gambit was doing the rounds, like, this guy looks like you. No. Yeah, exactly. That guy looks like Fish. It's not Fish looks like that guy. Fish is the better one. So now I'm not the biggest fan of Thomas Brody Sangster. He's not a bad actor by any means. I don't know. Something about him I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan. You're brave showing a Google image search of a celebrity. Yeah, I did it off screen first to quickly vet it to make sure that we were good. Nice. Dead to DMAC as well. Thank you very much for the host a couple of minutes ago, dude.
Hey,
Welcome
morning,
in.
mate.
Welcome in. Rigel Rymada, thank you very much for the follow. Nathan, I think I called out 20 minutes ago. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. Welcome in. D Official as well. Thank you very much for the follow. Lots of people showing love this morning. Appreciate the love. Thank you very much. So Thomas Brody Sangster has been linked with being Link? No pun intended.
No, I was just looking at. I just typed in like live action Link cast, and then see who would come up. And when I did that, it was like Tom Holland come up with a picture of him next to what Link could look like if it was live action. And then if I clicked on it, and then it showed like 15 people who could potentially be in a live action Zelda TV franchise. Let me see if I can try and find the link, and I'll put it into the chat. But yeah, there was a couple of famous faces that was on there from Screen Rant, and I think a lot of them probably would work as well. 1 second, I'll just drop it in the chat for everyone as well. But I think this would work. I think Nintendo would make a lot of money, I think, off this, and probably people and kids maybe who've never played a Zelda game before. I think this will probably give them a deeper insight. I mean, how many people probably played The Witcher after watching the TV series for the first time?
Well, loads of people. It replaced in the charts again, didn't it? Afterwards, I mean, that Benedict Cumberbatch Zan, that's the same person. He's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, this is absolutely just a. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. We're going to say this is absolutely just a. Let's pick the most famous people to just shoehorn their names into an article, because the first one was Lady Gaga, and then when you get Bandersnatch Benedict Cumberbatch in there as well, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is clearly just famous names. But when you've got Olga Kurilenko and Ray Fisher, then okay, we're getting somewhere now. We're starting to see people that do actually fit roles. Cameron Monaghan, Zoe Saldana.
Cameron Monaghan. Love Cameron Monaghan. He's fantastic.
Brian Lee, Elle Fanning, and then Thomas Brody Sangster. Nope. Okay, you lost me in the last one. Some of the other ones I'd be curious of, but nah.
I think they could probably pull someone if you're doing a Zelda. You could probably pull someone who's bigger than Thomas Brody Sangster, and that's not to say that he's a bad actor in any way, shape, or form. But if you want your main character to be pulling in the audience, is he the right person to be doing it? Probably not, but who am I to judge?
See,
I think if you...
I would see Thomas Brody Sangster matches a character that plays chess in Queen's Gambit. That's fine for me. But Link, he's you want Legolas. You want someone that's got like the screen suave and charisma of Orlando Bloom. You want someone like that playing Link. Not that Link's like meant to be some absolute stud muffin, but it's Link. Yeah, so yeah, I would want some. That's just a bit more.
Like Henry Cavill playing Geralt is fantastic casting. Like that's someone who is like a keen gamer. He kind of got into character. Whether or not it was method acting, I have no idea how he got into the character, but he played it phenomenally. So yeah, trying to get someone that kind of caliber to play someone who's Link as well. That's what you're watching this program for.
Enix says Link as a stud muffin, Kappa. Exactly though. That's it. You kind of want. I mean. Nobody goes, oh, Thomas Brody Sangster. At least I assume so. I don't know. I don't actually know. But like Henry Cavill and Orlando Bloom, they were like, oof, like sort of characters. You just kind of, I was thinking you kind of want someone that's got physical stage presence, the looks, the charm, the charisma, the whole sort of package. Whereas Thomas Brody Sangster gives me that sort of like smarts sort of person. Not that Link's a jock like Chad sort of person, but I kind of feel like it needs a little bit more than that. That's my opinion, anyway. Thomas Brody Sangster, a.k.a. It's David Fish. We'd said that already, pirate. Keep up. God damn it. Or they could be risque and cast a non-male. Touche. That's a good shout, actually. I mean, I don't know enough about Zelda. I've not really played it since the SNES. Is there anything that requires Zelda to be a binary character? Maybe there isn't. Maybe that's a good shout. Either way, it's not Thomas Brody Sangster, so I'll be happy enough anyway. Nice, yes. Anyway, on that bombshell, let's put a pin in things until 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow. We are going to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for yet another episode of The Scoop. We did have someone in the chat earlier on say, what games are we going to play? I think it was I'm a Nathe. There we go. We weren't going to play the games. We're going to talk games, but now we will jump off and then we'll jump back on and we will actually play some games. I don't know what we're going to play, but if you want to find out what we're going to play, you can always check it out on social media and you can find out that way. Before we do disappear and then come back again, though, babe, is there anything that you'd like to add whilst we have the people in the chat right now?
Yes, thank you very much for joining us today as we reach the midweek stage and episode 300 of The Scoop. But if you do want to get involved with the show, like Gary Clark did today, then there's two ways you can do that. Find us on social medias at Ice Cream World across all major social media platforms, or get into our Discord. There is an area in there called The Scoop. All we need from you is your thoughts and opinions, the URL. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions in the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham?
The time will be at 10 a.m. Ish. 10 a.m.-ish. Thank you very much for Number One Pirate and Chappers fighting over the Discord commands in the chat. And Madge, who's all there. We appreciate our mods, by the way. Can we get some mod love? Oh, no, whatever. It's fine. Appreciate it. Madge says, hope you cover my retweet in tomorrow's news. Do you know, I actually looked at Twitter and then got distracted by the Gary and Enix stuff, so I didn't actually see it, Madge.
The Mass Effect stuff, yes.
Yeah. We will include that. So if you want to talk Mass Effect, then feel free to join us here 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow, twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, or on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, whatever. It's fine. It's okay. We are going to disappear. Please feel free to drop a follow on the channel, as Neil ASV16 just did, because you get notified when we go live, and we will be going live again very, very soon, like imminently, with video games. So join us for that. It's free to follow. Give it a try. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day. And, baby, what are they going to do?
You've got to stay frosty.